Hello, my name is Michaela Garcia. I am currently a student at Lone Star College. I am in my second speech class at Lone Star, and today I'm going to be giving a speech over Chapter 7 in our textbook, which is gathering materials for our mandatory informative speech. So my main points today are going to be your personal knowledge and experience and how to use that in a speech, interviewing and how you should be conducting a productive interview, and then my final point is going to be tips to ensure that you're having an effective and efficient researching process. So the first thing that I wanted to get into was your personal knowledge and experience. So if you're given a choice, then you should definitely pick a topic that you feel you are educated on, something that you know a lot about, because it'll make it easier on you to talk about something that you have a lot of background knowledge on versus something that is totally new to you just thought was cool and would be interesting to speak over. For me, an example of this would be dance. I've danced a large majority of my life, and so it'd be easy for me to sit there and talk about it for minutes on end without feeling overwhelmed. Also, it's really important to use the stories that you have with certain topics in your speech. So if you're given the choice and you're talking about something that you do know a lot about, you might have stories that kind of relate to them. It's okay to talk about those things because they can be beneficial to your speech and bring it to life in a way that you might not have thought of before. So according to Stephen Lucas, the author of The Arts of Public Speaking, which is our school textbook, he was saying that we're all experts in something, and basically he was saying that we should use that to our advantage. So the next thing I wanted to get into is library research. This goes hand in hand with the whole researching process beforehand, but basically the biggest thing that the textbook was talking about was that it's okay to ask librarians for help. They noted that a lot of people feel shy and closed off and they don't want to ask librarians for help because they don't want to seem like they don't know something, and they also don't want to inconvenience anybody. But it's their job to be there to help you, and they want to help you. So it's really important to make sure that you are making use of librarians whenever you need help. This also goes with the library catalog and reference works. Both of those things are things that are accessible to you in the library that many people just won't use because they don't want to seem like they don't know what they're doing. But it's okay to have help. So next, with internet research. The textbook made a really good point saying that internet researching is supposed to be supplemental to library researching. It's not meant to be a replacement. So basically what that's saying is that you're not supposed to rely solely on internet research, but use it hand in hand with library research or to back up your library research. So the next thing I wanted to get into was interviewing and the whole interviewing process. So I'm going to break this up with before the interview, during the interview, after the interview. So before the interview, you need to decide who it is you're going to interview. The biggest thing I want to touch on this is you need to make sure that whoever you're going to interview is going to be relevant to the topic that you're speaking on. So if I'm giving a speech on which ingredients would be the best in this baked good, I wouldn't go and ask my dance teacher for help or as my interview person, because she wouldn't know anything about that. I would want to go to someone who owns a bake shop or a chef or someone I just know is really good at cooking, those types of things. That's what I mean by relevant to whatever it is you're going to be speaking on. So Rebecca Knight with Harvard Business Review, she made a really good point on this about how you need to make sure that whoever it is that you're interviewing, you have questions that are relevant to them as well as relevant to what you're speaking on. Okay, so during the interview, it's really important that at the beginning you establish the purpose of the interview. You want to make sure that whoever it is that you're interviewing knows this ahead of time as well as during the speech, or the interview, I'm sorry. You also want to make sure that you try to eliminate all distractions to better keep the focus on the interview itself. You don't want whoever it is that you're interviewing for their mind to go astray or for yours to go astray. You want your focus to be on the interview so that it can be the most productive interview for your speech. So it's also really important that you listen carefully to their answers and make note of it as you go, because the answers that they give are going to be crucial to the speech that you're providing. Also with that, it might be important to take note of the tone that they use when responding to certain questions, because depending on what it is you're discussing, that could be really crucial. So after your interview, you want to be sure that you review your notes as soon as you possibly can, because when it's fresh on your mind is the best time to try and go over it and see what else you can get from it. And if you could also to be going through and choosing the material that you're going to use in your speech from your notes, this is a good time to do so while it's fresh on your mind. Also, you want to make sure that you transcribe your notes so that they match the rest, so you don't have one or two different kinds of notes. You want to just make sure it's one consistent note. So now we're in my final point, which is tips for your research. So the first one is fairly simple. It's starting early. Delays are inevitable. So even though if you think you can get it done in 5 days, the interview, the note-taking, all of it, more than likely there's going to be some kind of setback for you, and it's a good idea to give yourself more time than you're thinking in your head. Also, starting early just gives you the chance to breathe a little and feel more confident in what it is you're speaking about, as well as giving the interview, whoever you're giving the interview for them to think of their answers and not feel so stressed themselves about it, because that's important too. So my second tip for research would be to take effective notes. Note-taking shouldn't be something that you're just jotting down to get something done. It should be something that's there to help you in the speech that you're going to give. So you want to make sure you're taking lots and lots of notes. You also want to make sure that you're recording these notes in a consistent form. I mentioned this earlier, but basically you don't want to have 1, 2, 3 different kinds of different notes. Like, you want them to all be the same and cohesive. It's also a good idea to distinguish the difference between different things in your notes, whether it be quotations or paraphrases or your own ideas or anything like that. You want to make sure that there's some sort of a clear difference, whether it be with colors or fonts if you're using a computer or anything like that, because you need to see the difference in each of those things that you're writing down. So my last tip is going to be thinking about the materials as you research. This is extremely important because it allows new questions to come in and allows your creativity to build up, so that things that you might not have thought of before become, a bigger point to you. This makes your researching much more productive and enjoyable for yourself, and it, in the end, is going to be the most beneficial thing to you. So I wanted to go over my main points again, which are to use your personal experience to your benefit, what you should be doing to conduct a productive interview, and then tips for research. So thank you.